Welcome, and thanks for joining me on this next mini adventure of mine. It's August 16th, 2017, and for a different pace this morning, I decided to stop and make breakfast at a small roadside park on the way to work instead of stopping at McDonald's or Tim Hortons or whatever. I thought this would be a nice things to try. So it's another beautiful morning, still cool, but just beautiful. The sun rising over the fields is a really refreshing way to start the day. There's not too much traffic around this time of morning. It's around 6 o'clock, I think, and pretty quiet. And although it is a lot clearer today, driving in, it is always prudent to keep an eye out for any animals. Don't get too relaxed in your traveling. And another thing I always make sure I do, is use my indicators. Whether in a car or on a scooter or bike. It's amazing how many people actually don't understand the use of indicators, and many people actually turn on the indicator as they're midway in the turn. So instead of a warning device, it's more of a programmed something in their back of their mind somewhere that says they have to put on the indicator. They're not quite sure why, but they do it anyway because they know it's something there is telling them to do it. But unfortunately, a lot of people have forgotten the reasons. This morning I am going to try a part of the greenbelt, which has picnic tables. It's the head of some trails, one going off to an abandoned quarry. I've never taken the trails, but I thought this would be a good place to stop and have a little snack on the way to work. I mean, it's about midway, maybe a little bit more for me on the way to work. And the reason the green space was originally made was when they planned the city of Ottawa. They planned for a space to accommodate around 500,000 people, and bordered that with a green space where there would be no building, kind of like to contain the size of the urban sprawl. But of course now there are many more than 500,000 in Ottawa. But the idea was kind of nice, and now they have trails and parks and areas that you can enjoy. Anyway, I just packed a small amount of equipment. I've got my small homemade alcohol stove, which I made from a small size ginger ale can or two. You can find instructions on how to make those out of pop cans anywhere on the internet. I found one in particular that was very easy to follow. I'll have to see if I can, if I saved that. I'm not sure if I did or not, but there are many out there. So I just brought some fuel, put that in the stove, and I brought a small cook pan. This is something I'll have to tweak in the future because this pan didn't pour very well. but it served for heating the water for my tea, and also for using for a bowl for the oatmeal. So it was kind of a one-pot deal. As I said, it's a very simple breakfast, easy to make, fast to do, just tea, and all I need to do is boil the water, which the small alcohol stove does perfectly. It's very easy to use, it's very clean, and on a morning like this, it also warmed my hands. Yeah, you can see the flames under there boiling the water. I parked on the grass with the scooter. I didn't think it would hurt, and nobody else was around, but I think in the future I'll park on the parking lot. It's a little nicer for the grass. Anyway, the water's boiled in no time. I didn't time it. I'm not big on timing and stuff like that. I'm just happy that something that I've made from recycled stuff worked so well. It is cool, but there are also a lot of mosquitoes around. Well, a lot. I say, every once in a while they'd bug me. There I am warming my hands. Obviously, it's a little cooler this morning. My hands got a little cool on the bike. But nothing like a warm cup of tea, hot cup of tea in the morning. Start my day off. And it was really nice because it was really quiet here, and unlike going into a restaurant or fast food joint, it was in the open air, very quiet, and just me and the birds and the mosquitoes. And as I said, this is even riding to work for me is a mini adventure, because it takes 2 hours to get there, so it's almost like taking a trip, a journey, so to speak. And by the way, I didn't realize I looked so gruff all the time, but I am happy inside. Just happy to be out here. So beautiful and quiet. There's the one of the signs at the head of the trail. There's some wildflowers around. Queen Anne's lace, I believe. Some loosestrife there, which, even though it's an invasive species, is quite pretty anyway. And there's the park.